Okay, great, thank you. So, my name is Steve, and I'm the CEO of Wirewax, and I'm going to talk to you today about video. So what's up with video? Am I right? You know, it's crazy. It's the most powerful medium that we know. It's the most powerful way to communicate with people. We all know that. It's the most popular thing in the universe right now. There's no doubt about that. A rough approximation, there are 349 hexillion videos on the internet right now. And I did a quick calculation this morning, and I found that if I stacked every video on the internet up, it would reach from here to the moon. So us humans, we love video content. So much so that it's been estimated by this time next year, 99% of all human activity will be watching video. And 1% of that will be finding the ultimate GIF. Let's get that off. You can't unsee that, I'm afraid. So what is up with video? So it has fundamental problems. It's enormously popular. It's very, very powerful, but it has some fundamental problems with it. First of all, it's a one-sided conversation, right? So you can communicate, you can broadcast to your audience, but they can't communicate with you. Second of all, those devices, those machines, those TVs, they know how to display those little colored pixels, but they have no idea about what those pixels represent. In a purely digital world, that's a completely crazy, farcical situation. And there is no return on investment. So when you create a video, it costs a lot of time, it costs a lot of money and time, but there's no direct return on investment from creating this video content. And so these are the problems that we're trying to solve. So what is the answer? You guessed it, it's Wirewax, yay! So it is an online tool for making videos interactive. It's all powered by machine learning, so a lot of the work is already done for you. It's already used by 20,000 people, and we've worked with about 500 brands over the last 5 or 6 years. So what does it look like? Well, it has things like face detection and face recognition within the video, so doing a lot of the work for you. It has object recognition and motion tracking, all this fancy stuff. But what it essentially means is that we can automatically add touch points to anything within the video, people, objects, and products. They can become points where your audience can interact with your video, and the video will respond. It will say something back to you. And so what this means is that things within video, people, objects, and products can then be connected to the rest of the web. It's an incredibly powerful medium that you've now created. So how is the technology typically being used? It's being used in one of 3 typical use cases. The first is enriching content, so simply providing audiences with more information. So for example, if I wanted to find out who this guy was, hooray, it's Daniel Craig. If I wanted to know who painted this, then boom, Thomas Eakins. If, for example, I wanted to know how to bake this cheesecake, hello, you get the idea. Just providing audiences with more information. The second use of the technology is about creating immersive experiences, which is just a wanky marketing term. It basically means cool shit. And this can look like something like this, which we did for Dulux, which is exploring the paint range that's used in a room. So you can move your mouse cursor over or drag your finger on a touch device, and it will show you things like Pinterest inspiration boards and a whole ton of other stuff. We did a lot of stuff with TV trailers, making them interactive. This one for the BBC for Sherlock, this allowed you to dig deep, find out more about the show, explore multi-layered narratives, a whole bunch of other stuff. And this one for PlayStation, which is actually our best performing video today. It's a gamer audience, so you kind of would expect it. But this way, you can just kind of click on these sort of references to games titles in the repurposed TV ad, and it shows you a trailer and that sort of stuff. And the third most popular use of the technology, and this will probably come as no surprise to you, is shoppable video. So simply allowing viewers to buy things that they see in the video content. This one for Farfetch, for example, and I can just lean forward, I can reach out, I can touch it, and I can buy the product. This one, some of you may have seen this one. This is very popular for Ted Baker, and this one actually made the brand $80,000 worth of sales in the first week alone. So they do very, very well. This is the most boring slide in the world, but what we're trying to say is that this drives a huge wedge in the conversion funnel. Now, as a viewer, if you see something that you want to act on impulse, you want to lean forward, you want to engage with, then you can. So does the experience actually work? Yes. this Canadian fashion retailer made $100,000 worth of sales from this experience in just the first week. This Shop the Room experience for a Time Inc. brand, they made $150,000 for the sponsor in just the first few days. So what can you typically expect? Well, the vast majority of your audience will get it. They'll understand they have to lean forward, they'll interact. 67% of the audience will typically do that. They'll do that 3 times on average each. And if you're just driven by a KPI that's about getting people to spend longer with your video content, then this alone is a reason to do it. 3.5 times longer people will spend with a Wirewax video than the same video without any interactivity at all. Click-through rates, these are massive numbers, but I can assure you they are true. This is of the people that have interacted, those people that then complete the journey. So whether that's to buy a product, add something to a shopping bag, enter a competition, book a test drive for a car, these are the sort of numbers you can expect. Interactive video does perform amazingly well. Before you ask, yes, it works seamlessly across all these stock images, and it's already been used by some of the world's smartest brands. So why should you do this? So video, as I mentioned, is a completely noisy space. And so by making your video interactive, first of all, you make your video stand out. Our clients and our users are seeing a typical return on investment between 5 and 10x, so incredibly powerful stuff. I already mentioned longer engagement, and audiences now are starting to expect this, and we're seeing those engagement rates going up every month as people start to expect this type of experience. And I think this is the most important point, finally, which is just to continue the conversation. So with conventional video, you put your video out there, there's no way you can communicate with your audience, with your consumers. With interactive video, you get to continue that conversation. So what else do we do? So we just recently started supporting 360 video, and this is something that we did for Epics for the release of Berlin Station. And at certain times, you can scan through the film and click on these motion tracking hotspots. We were the first to do this. It's incredibly powerful. It's been doing amazingly well. And this is something we do. Occasionally, we do these kind of super creative things. This is what we did for Disney, which is kind of like you can scan behind the scenes the making of Jungle Book and kind of see the finished CG polished product. So that's been doing well. And so where's the future of this kind of technology? Where do we see this going? So we kind of expect this to be part of everyday video consumption. I'm talking about like TV, movie watching, that sort of thing. So imagine you're catching up on an episode of Black Sails, and you don't want any sort of visual hotspots kind of ruining that experience, but when you pause the content, it can then highlight anything in the video that you can interact with, so people, objects, potential products. So it's non-invasive. It doesn't interfere with the viewing, but when you interact, when you pause the content with your remote, then it can show you all this additional content. And these are trials that we're doing now with Universal Pictures and iFlix, which is they're calling next generation video consumption. So please have a go. It is a self-serve tool. Like I said, go to wirewax.com and sign up. It's free for non-commercial use, so you can have a play around with the tool. So please do. And instead of spending 99% of your time consuming content, why not change it, make it work better? But you can still spend 1% of the time looking for the ultimate GIF. There we go. Thank you very much.